Welcome. Just as a quick ground rule, we're going to try to keep all of the shows and tells to a 5-minute time limit. So I'll give you a warning when it comes to about 4 minutes and let you know. We've got a really great group of folks here today. We've got two guests with us. We've got Sylvan and Evan, who are both Add-ons community members. And from the Add-ons team, we've got myself, Caitlin, Amy, Jorge, Luca, Mark Streamer, Mike Capley, Mike Conca, and Stuart Coville. So thanks everybody for taking the time to join us on this beautiful spring Friday in the Northern Hemisphere, fall elsewhere. Let's go ahead and get started. So Andreas, you're up first.
Yep. So in the past, we've come across a few developers who accidentally leaked their AMO API keys into the wild, which basically whoever is in possession of the API key is allowed to submit updates for those add-ons the key belongs to, or the account the key belongs to. And recently we implemented a new feature into the AMO codebase that allows detection and automated revocation of those keys during submission to AMO. So what you see is a screenshot, no live demo, unfortunately. Also, it's not that spectacular, so the screenshot has to suffice, but you can try it out yourself. So the screenshot basically shows the error message that is being shown when you're uploading an add-on file that contains your API key. We automatically reject that submission, so it won't get accepted by AMO to prevent the file from getting into the wild. And as a security measure, we're also revoking your API key. The user is informed through this, and there's also a separate email being sent to the account owners to make sure they really know that their API keys have been revoked, because the keys might have been used in a building environment that is fully automated. So we need to make sure the authors know what's going on. That's it.
Cool. No more API leaks. Woo! Anyone have any questions or comments for Andreas? Okay, very cool. Thanks so much for sharing, Andreas.
Nice.
That's pretty great.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Sylvan. So I'll stop sharing my... There you go.
Yes. Let's see if it works. Cool. So 2 very simple web extension. The first one I did just for me. It's called Twitch Prime subscription reminder. When you have Amazon Prime, you now that Twitch got bought by Amazon, you got a free sub to any of the streamer that you like. Once per month, you can basically give the streamer money for free using your Amazon Twitch Prime. And one problem with that is that Twitch or Amazon don't tell you when it's up to use again month after month. So you need to constantly, every single day, you need to check if it's ready to use again and give money for free to your favorite streamer. Now, the web extension that I did is just simply scraping this not yet button to see if it's ready or not. And if it's ready, it will turn the subscribe button to orange. So it's pretty basic. It's available on AMO and on Google Chrome Store. For the second one, I know that Mike worked a lot in the past few years with Brent Thunder, Mike Capley, and the company I'm working for work with Brent Thunder as well to do web extension on Chrome and Firefox. Now, normally Mike is doing the extension on Firefox, Though for this particular website, we hosted it on our servers. Normally it's on Brent Thunder, now it's on mystart.com. So we took the advantage to create the extension on our side as well. Now the extension on Firefox, it's very, very simple. It's just overriding the new tab and taking the user to this website. So when you open a new tab, it goes there. So it's very simple. There's nothing right now other than that. On Google Chrome, though, the extension is a little bit more feature ready. You have communication between the website and the extension so that the user have more apps than on Firefox. For example, they got access to the most visited, their apps, their bookmarks, something that we don't have right now on Firefox. The reason is the APIs that we are using on Google Chrome for web extensions are not ready for Firefox. We got a way to get over that. It's just a matter of time to work this out via content scripts. So it's basically a website about the next PGA Tour next week, the Memorial Tournament. It's a golf tournament in the US, and the website shows multiple wallpapers and different widgets for the users.
An excellent tool for all of our golf fans out there.
And just for you, Caitlin, probably in the next few months, I'll migrate my cats web extensions to Firefox as well. We got funny cats and dogs, all your favorite animals.
Thank you, Sylvain. I really appreciate that. Thank you. There's never enough cat extensions. Awesome. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Sylvain?
Yes, Sylvain, can you send me privately outside this meeting a list of the Google API that you're using that don't exist in Firefox, and maybe we can have a conversation on whether or not those would be appropriate for the Web Extensions API?
Yeah, sure. I can send you that.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it now, just.
No problem.
Thank you.
Very cool. All right, next up is Mike Capley.
Can you unshare your screen, Sylvain? All right. So,
oh, wait a minute.
There we go.
There we go.
So in Chrome 39, Chrome introduced this thing specifically for Android that you might have noticed on your phone. It's very subtle, but there are certain websites that you go to that can change the color of your web browser. And so now that we have dynamic theme support, we can do the same thing on Firefox. So this is just a really simple extension that when you go to like Yahoo, it goes purple. And some websites actually, like, you wouldn't know this, but GitHub does a subtle gray. And then other people just on their websites specify via the meta tag what color they want to use for their website. And then this person actually has it set up so that every time you visit his site, it changes the color.
Oh, that's cool. Right.
So, and then obviously as you flip between the tabs, it'll change the color based on tab flipping. So anyway, it's a very simple add-on. It was the first thing that came to mind when I thought of the dynamic themes, because that's what this was designed for. The weird thing is Facebook does it too, but for some reason I think they're using user agent detection to prevent you from doing it on desktop, so it's not turning blue like it does on mobile. So anyway, I'm going to finish this up. One website actually does an animation of the meta tag, which works on Chrome, where you can change the background every second, and it works. I haven't decided if I'm going to make that work yet or not, but it would be kind of fun to have. Anyway, so that's it. It's just supporting this theme color concept on Firefox. And Chrome does not do this on desktop. It was always intended as a mobile feature. So
interesting. Interesting. So Mike, when you have this built out, you're going to list it on AMO so we can point people to it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
There aren't a lot of sites that support it, but it seemed kind of a fun thing to do. I know in the past, we'd had discussions about this, and I know there's some add-ons that do it. Of would it be interesting if you could actually specify in your meta tag that you wanted a particular theme or persona, whatever lightweight theme. I still think that's something that would be fun to explore at some point in the future, as to whether or not we could have dynamic theming and people could put a tag in their website and we could change to that theme. And maybe that would be a way to extend this to actually have a meta tag that specified an ID for a lightweight theme on AMO, and when you connect to that website, it would automatically switch to that theme. So anyway.
I think that sounds pretty cool. Especially
cool,
if the theme on twitter.com is just like a red do not enter theme. Just like a nice visual cue to get out. That would be cool.
Do you really want to be here?
Yeah, do you really want to be here? Okay, awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that, Mike. Any questions or comments for Mike?
Cool.
Okay, very cool. All right, next up is Luca.
Yep. So very quick announcement. We recently released the new version of WebEx, the CLI tool for developing the extensions. Just a quick summary of what has changed is huge performance improvement on the startup of the tool that is being demoed the past meeting. And we updated the schema for the 61 version of Firefox. And that is all for this one. Then I wanted to show you something that has been worked out by another team. And is not being released yet, but it's nice. And I asked to show in this meeting the prototype, so the thing they are working on. Usual screencaster, because I'm on Linux, I'm not going to share my screen and crash my kernel, probably. The tool is pretty simple. It's a Webpack plugin, and he allows an extension that use Webpack to bundle the extension to better integrate the WebEx run and lint in the workflow. So it will have less chance to reload the extension while Webpack is still bundling the sources. So that is pretty useful for more complex add-ons that needs the bundling step. And besides the screencast, I want to share the sources of the plugin that is here, and the source of the extension shown there that is using the plugin in the video. So it's a pretty nice thing that has been developed. They are working on streamlining the developer's experience. So if you are going to use this and found any bug or you have any suggestion, that is the link of the GitHub repo. Please file bugs or contribute new changes. Thank you all.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Luca. Let's just take a really quick look at this in action. Oh, very nice. Very nice. I didn't know that Bertles was the dev for Gchan. Sorry, that was a random comment. Very cool, Luca. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Luca?
Luca, could you imagine I had no idea. I know about the general thing about Webpack, but I quite didn't get what the plugin does.
So the thing is that we already support live reload for the extension, but it works pretty well when you are editing a plain extension that doesn't have a build step like Webpack that is bundling the sources all together in a single file. But when you have the build step, sometimes the watching and reload will reload the extension while the things are still changing. And plugin helps you to get a more consistent experience while you are changing the file, because the reload is only happening when Webpack has completed the bundling. So you are sure that everything has been built and you don't have an half-built extension that will you will ask yourself if there is some bugs because the extension doesn't work properly if it's being reloaded while the file were still changing, because WebEx runs from the directory. So there is a chance that extension has been reloaded at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's great. But the plugin wouldn't change the file in any way, right?
No. It's just I mean, if you are using Webpack to developing your extension, this plugin helps you to just add the plugin and be sure that the extension will be reloaded when the Webpack has completed the bundling. So it's just a way to simplify your workflow when you use Webpack already in the project.
Cool. That sounds useful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, very good. All right, we're going to turn over to Evan now. Hi, Evan, for his show and tell.
Hello. Let me share my screen here. All right, you guys can see that? So what I'm going to talk about is an open source project called Remote Browser that we made. And what Remote Browser is a browser automation framework similar to something like Selenium or Puppeteer, but it's built using the Web Extensions API, and it gets most of its power from a combination of the Web Extensions API and built-in document APIs. So what we're looking at here is an interactive tour that we made. There's kind of a lot of content here. I'll just kind of flip through each of these pages. Talks about a different component of how the library works. I'll run this example here. And what happens when you run this code is the client's actually running inside of my web browser, and it's connecting to a remote server, launching a Firefox instance, navigating to a web page, taking a screenshot, using the browser tabs, Capture Visible Tab API. And then you can see this down here. If I click on that, you can see the screenshot, which is taken again from this remote server. So you can see that it's on an Amazon server. It's located in San Jose. If you're interested in learning more, this tour I think does a really good job of kind of explaining how to use it and some of the philosophy behind the project. But I also wanted to show a couple other things that go outside of the tour. So because this is implemented as a web extension, it allows us to run this not just for launching new browsers, but actually run it as an extension inside of your everyday browser, which is what I'm doing here. So I will just import the library here really quickly. Create a new browser instance, and then listen for a connection, and then it prints out this port 8000. And then this little icon here is actually the same web extension that's used to launch and control new browsers. And it has this little pop-up, and I can connect to the terminal here. And now this browser object gives me access to the full Web Extensions API. So I'm going to just do, oh, actually, let me store the response here. So I'll store tab, and then I'll do browser tabs.update. And again, this is exactly the Web Extensions API. And I'll go to the GitHub page here for the project. And then I have this tab object, and the particularly interesting part right now will be the ID for the tab. And now I can use that ID to get access to the content script context in this page. And I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek of something else we're working on. which is an input simulation library that can be used in conjunction with remote browser. And that is something that can be used to simulate mouse and keyboard actions. So let me just move this mouse. And you guys can see up in this corner, this is a fake little mouse. Now, I'll use that mouse to move to a specific element on the page. Just using document query selector, there's no custom API here. See that it's scrolling down, getting down to there. And then this is an animated GIF underneath here. That's obviously pretty similar to what I'm doing right now. Also use simulation library to click on it. So I'll just change this query selector to
Oh, Evan, did you mute yourself? No, you're good. Okay.
okay. Sorry, and then I'll slide this up. Into this we're back where we started here. And then, maybe I'll just add that one thing that's really cool about remote browser and the fact that it's built on top of the Web Extensions API is that it's inherently cross-browser compatible with every browser that supports some version of the Web Extensions API. Even if there are differences between the different browsers' implementations, you automatically get access to whichever implementation the browser you're using has implemented. And even though there are a lot of browser automation frameworks, I think really pretty much only Selenium is cross-browser compatible across a number of browsers, and it can only accomplish that through having quite a bit of specific code for every browser that it supports. So that's if you want to learn more about it, you can check out the tour at intoli.com/tour.
That's a pretty cool demo. Not gonna lie. All right, I see Andreas has a thumbs up. Anyone have any questions or comments for Evan?
When you interact with the content, it's underlying, it's actually calling execute script, tabs execute script, or is doing something else?
It's doing something else. So every page that comes up, there's a content script that's injected, and it automatically connects to the background script, and that's kind of where the control center lives. And then it just uses a val both in the background and the content script context.
Okay. I actually tried it. It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just have to spread the good news.
If I wanted to run this from a command line or something, would there be a way to like start the Firefox instance and have it automatically connect?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, that's actually the default behavior. So the API will probably change slightly, because what we'd like to do is isolate this like browser instance from the API that's part of remote browser. Like right now we have these listen and launch commands on it, and we'd like to separate those and keep this pretty much solely a proxy for the Web Extensions API. But right now you can do browser launch, and you can launch Firefox or Chrome, and it'll automatically launch it with the extension pre-installed and negotiate a connection with it. And you can do that in headless mode with Firefox, which is awesome. That's something that you unfortunately can't do with Chrome.
Cool. That sounds pretty great. Thanks.
Okay. we have about 4 minutes left. Does anyone else have anything that they'd like to share? Going once, going twice. Okay. Well, this was a really great show and tell. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And thank you for contributing to the add-ons community at Mozilla. We really appreciate it. We'll see y'all next month. I think the week after our company all hands. So we'll be back. In the meantime, keep making awesome things, and we'll see y'all later. Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Bye, everybody.